One day, I threw a huge party at my apartment in Brickfields, where I was living with three other writers. We were all young punks who thought we are writers, and we were growing our network and our community. And so we threw several house parties that were quite legendary, I think, because uh, I think we had total about 150 to 200 people in one apartment. At that time, I was the editor of Seni, and I wrote some article about things that we could do at Central Market, because I was very recently was part of a performance with Five Arts Center that took place at Central Market Annex. So Nani Kaha saw my party, saw my article, saw me uh, being editor of Kakisani, and invited me to run this gallery uh, for Central Market. And that's how it started. It's Nani Kaha's idea. She managed to convince Central Market that this needs to be an art center, and she managed to convince them to hire me. What I learned was that in Malaysia, the concept of culture is used prescriptively. It's used to tell people what to be, what to do, who to be, right? What kind of Malaysians you're supposed to be. And as opposed to being descriptive, telling us what people already are, who we are in the spaces where the state is not looking at us, right? So when I went into the Annexe Gallery, I wanted to bring that vision of creating a space where people could tell us who they are, what they are, what they want to be, where people are invested in redefining and reinvesting in creating a culture that is theirs. I want people to tell us their culture rather than take on something that's prescribed for them. It really came out because we started hearing people complaining about the expensive art that we will show that nobody can afford. Well, not say nobody lah. I mean, only a very few lah, can afford it. And they want to be able to afford art. And at the same time, we were hearing from artists who were telling us that they want to be able to connect with their audience. They want to be able to make art that people can afford. So we thought we'll bring the two together. And in fact, when it first started out, it was art under 100. That was the goal, to create art that was under 100 ringgit. Yeah. And so that's how it started. Just we got a bunch of artists, including booksellers, to set up booths because they wanted to connect, and we got a lot of people to come. In fact, I think from the very early on, we already had a very flexible definition of what is art in Art for Grabs, and it's a form of expression. And so we also saw activism as a form of expression, and we wanted to make sure that NGOs and activists therefore have a space at Art for Grabs, because they were expressing something that is important to the country and they need to be heard, and this was a space for them. I would say one of the spaces that we open up to were also LGBT groups. In fact, one of the very important moments of Art for Grabs was that it gave birth to Seksualiti Merdeka. Me and Jerome and Jack and Farish Noor were invited to Singapore to read our stories at the LGBT Pride Festival in Singapore. And we thought, you'd be ashamed if we don't do this in Malaysia. And then we thought, you know what? Why just do one event? Why not a whole festival? And the next Art for Grabs we were going to do then was around Merdeka. And then we thought to ourselves, wow, what better way to celebrate Merdeka than to talk about our freedoms, what it means. Oh my God.
Oh.
You know, almost every other event, I go into an anxiety attack whether the floor is going to give way, because some events people were so excited they were jumping up and down, and you can feel it. You can feel that vibration, and they kept assuring me that these are all very secure, uh, and that it will be fine. It was quite crazy. It was so stressful during those events, but at the same time, you're overwhelmed by the fact that so many people showed up for these things. It was a moment in time. Um, I had this dream. Uh, I didn't know how to sustain it, but it was a beautiful dream. Uh, a lot of people came and we shared this dream together. We wanted to tell these stories, and so these stories need to be told by more than just me. It need to be told by others. Actually, I think the annex never became what I thought it would be. The annex went beyond it. My dream was too small for the annex, to be honest with you. Um, really, as I said, when we entered it, we wanted to compartmentalize different sections, different parts of it, and different people had different ideas of what it should be, including the people who own the space, including the people who initiated the space, Nani. We all had different ideas. But the moment we opened the annex to others to use, to artists and activists, they decided what it was. They made it what they wanted it to be, and that made me happy. Um, when I realized it was no longer just mine.